So far, I have lost 10 of the pounds that I gained after ACDF surgery, and I did it without dieting. I did it by eating foods that nourished my mind and body, and I did it without starving myself and while still dealing with swallowing issues after my surgery. Check it out. I am Amy Giaquinto, and I am Mama Fix It. I was a former certified personal fitness trainer and a health and fitness writer. I am here today to share with you the exact types of foods, habits, and mindset shifts that allowed me to lose weight after my ACDF surgery in a safe way that nourished both my mind and my body. So come on, check it out. Why is weight loss after ACDF surgery so darn hard? You've been inactive for several months, so you've lost muscle. Like I said in my last video, muscle burns calorie at rest. The less muscle mass you have, the fewer calories your body is going to burn at rest. But guess what happens? You keep eating the same amount of calories every day. Well, you're only burning this many calories. There's a big gap here, and that gap gets wider and wider as you gain weight. One of the other issues is that while you're recovering, you cannot be as physically active as you were before you went in for the surgery. So again, this leads to fewer calories being burned and weight coming on. Another issue that I really had with the surgery was I'm still having swallowing problems 11 months post-op. And that completely changed my diet because I went from eating salads with, tons and tons of vegetables and sometimes fruits and then beans packed in there to hardly being able to swallow anything other than liquids. Mentally, that screwed me up for a while because not only did I not want to eat the vegetables that I had been eating and the foods that I loved, but there was a lot of fear involved with eating too. And when that happens, that just increases your emotional eating. And when you eat something that makes you feel good, like chocolate chips, well, not the best solution. The other thing I had to deal with after surgery was that the surgery triggered menopause in me. The changes in hormones also contribute to some of this emotional eating, but your body also decides to store fat a lot easier. It is so common when people are trying to lose weight to underestimate the amount of calories we're putting into our bodies and to overestimate the amount of calories we're burning during activity. I didn't personally count calories. I just don't have the bandwidth to do that. There are a ton of apps that will help you with this. You can research them. I am not an app person for this. I just like to eat a nutritious, well-balanced diet. And at this point in my life, I kind of know what to eat, and I'm going to share that with you. If you do count calories, women do not drop below 1,200 calories a day. Men do not drop below 1,500 calories a day unless you are under the direct supervision of a physician. Also, when you drop below the basic number of calories that your body needs to function, you are putting your body in starvation mode. When you're in starvation mode, your body is going to want to store energy. And when it stores energy, that's another word for it wants to store the calories you eat as fat so that you have some fuel to fuel your brain. You should never feel like you're starving when you are changing your diet. So instead of dieting, I simply focus on nutrient-dense foods that are lower in calories and will keep me full all day. Fiber is the key to losing weight. We are supposed to be getting 25 to 35 or more grams of fiber per day. Most American diets are lucky if they break the single digits with fiber. Fiber keeps you full. It keeps your blood sugar from going woo, woo. So you're running, crash, hangry, running, crash, hangry, all day long. That yo-yo cycle promotes your body to store calories or energy as fat, which is exactly what you don't want to have happen. Fiber also supports your gut health and all of that wonderful gut microbiome that helps to keep us healthy, and it naturally reduces cravings. My goal is 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day, and because I am gluten intolerant, I get my fiber from gluten-free grains. I do gluten-free oats, I do brown rice, I also do my white rice, but with my white rice, I get my fiber primarily from the vegetables and the beans that I put on when I am actually eating the rice. I also get fiber from legumes. And all a legume is, in case you don't know, is it's a fancy word for any kind of vegetable that comes in a pod. So you're talking peas, edamame, any of your bean varieties. In fact, lentils have so many nutrients and so much protein and fiber. They are one of the most nutritious foods on the planet. I also get a lot of my fiber from vegetables and fruits and leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, which are the ones that crunch, like broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage. So I always do a variety of vegetables and try and eat a rainbow of vegetables every single day. I want to talk about some of the dietary changes that I made that are really specific to swallowing after having ACDF surgery or any kind of throat surgery like thyroid surgery or whatever. Because I could not eat my raw vegetables, and I'm still struggling to eat raw vegetables and certain raw fruits, I was really struggling to get key nutrients into my body. I decided finally to get creative with my vegetables. So I said everything was gonna have to be cooked. So I started steaming or cooking my veggies until they were soft and easy to swallow. I was breaking them up into small pieces. Sometimes I was pureeing them depending on the veggie. You know, that's super easy to do with your squashes, especially, and they can still taste really, really delicious. I started making soups and stews that were loaded with beans and greens. And then I was even like dehydrating kale and chard and some of my other greens, spinach and stuff. And I made it into a powder using my food processor that I could just quickly shake into a smoothie if I was out of other greens, because when you are eating nutritiously, you tend to go through greens very, very quickly. I was also, as we talked about, making a lot of smoothies and making a lot of desserts that incorporated certain things that I really like into one dessert that I could actually swallow. So if you're struggling to swallow, you just might need to get creative and find ways to incorporate all of the nutritious foods that you know your body needs to be healthy and to lose weight in a way that you can actually get them down. One of the easiest ways for me to lose this weight, honestly, was to cut out the sugar and the refined foods and the processed foods and replace them with the high nutrient density foods. I don't drink any sugary beverages at all, except once in a great while I might indulge in a cup of hot chocolate with the kids on a weekend. That's one of my rules. But every other day of the week, 99% of the times, I am drinking water or herbal tea. That cuts out a lot of calories. Also, I cut out the chips. I cut out the sweet and salty and processed refined foods. I cut out the chocolate, but not all of the chocolate. I have some tricks for doing chocolate, and I will post some of those tricks online. I also cut out the high fat foods. We were using coconut milk for certain recipes, and I decided, well, until I get my weight back to where I want it to be, coconut milk is a really great thing to cut out because it is super high in calories and super high in fat and not super high in nutrient density either. Also, I made sure to cut out artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols, because when you eat artificial sweeteners and sugar alcohols, your body doesn't process those as calories, and they can actually make you wind up eating more food, more calories during the day as a result. I want to talk about protein here for a minute, because a lot of people believe that you cannot get enough protein when you're eating a plant-based diet, and that is just a myth. Most of us get plenty of protein and we don't even have to think about it. The rule of thumb is that you do 0.5 to 1 gram per kilogram of body weight. So if you are a 60 kilogram woman, you probably need 60 grams of protein per day. Okay, and especially, at my age, maybe, if you're working out really hard, you'll want that boosted up. If you're not working out, you can go down a little bit. Your body can only absorb 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal. Anything above that will cause you to have gas and bloating and can actually contribute to you gaining fat weight. I get my protein mainly from a variety of beans and lentils and vegetables like peas. Peas are pretty high in protein, which is really great. green beans, things like that. I also get additional protein from whole grains. Yes, oatmeal does contain protein, oats contain protein. I have been doing unsweetened soy milk as well, just because I'm trying to find the best alternative for a non-dairy milk, and everything else out there seems to be loaded with sugar and water and fillers and this and that and the other. And so I'm trying to keep it as natural as possible. Sometimes I don't even use the soy milk. Sometimes I will just throw a handful of cashews in my blender with a little bit of water and have cashew milk. Depends on the day and what I'm feeling. I avoid most protein powders because they are highly processed foods. They are loaded with additives and preservatives and gums and thickeners and all sorts of stuff I really don't want in my body. So I would rather save money and make my own protein drinks. My Whole Foods protein smoothies always include frozen fruits, frozen vegetables, salad greens of some kind like kale or spinach, sometimes even kale powder, oats, either some nut or seed butters, sometimes depending on what I want the calorie load to be. And then I usually blend that up with a little bit of unsweetened soy milk. So the sky is the limit here. I know, who would have ever thought of putting frozen broccoli in a smoothie, but trust me, it's really good. You hardly taste it. You can go to my website and check out some of my recipes. www.amygiaquinto.com/blog/mamafixit. I will leave a link in the description below. Weight loss isn't just a physical journey, it is a very emotional journey. So one of the things that helped me the most was journaling about all of my feelings with ACDF surgery and my feelings about food and why I was eating what I was eating when I was eating it. Because I was journaling, I was able to find a way to overcome the fact that I had been emotionally eating. And this allowed me to cut down on my calories and lose weight. Another thing that will help you lose weight is if you do a short food journal. Keep track of what you eat, when you eat it, and why during the day for maybe just a few days. And then you can go back and you can evaluate what's good, what's not good, what can you substitute out for more nutritious foods. I have used the 90-10 rule, and this means 90% of the time I am eating the most nutrient-dense, wonderful, delicious foods I can find. 10% of the time, I am indulging in moderation. So I do eat chocolate still, but I do eat it in moderation. And I like to believe there are no forbidden foods, because the minute I say, hey, you know what? I can't have a food. Guess what I want? I want that food, and I want that food more than anything else. So when I talk about moderation, I'm talking about a small amount once in a while. Set rules around when you're going to do that too, so that you can eat intentionally. And if you have set that intention, you can keep that intention, and then you will never feel guilty about what you've eaten. One of the other things that I did was I reminded myself that I like to be a food snob, because I really, really do value high quality food. My taste buds love it. I feel better when I eat it. So I changed my mindset so that if I see a food that looks amazing, I mean, oh my gosh, this is the holiday season. I mean, what doesn't look amazing? Everything out there is sugar or junk food. But if I see a food like that, I just take a look at it and I'm like, what's that gonna do for my body? Or, you know, I could make something very similar to that that's gonna be a lot more nutrient dense, and it's gonna taste way better than that store-bought pastry or cookie or cake or whatever. So I don't even want it then. So I can talk myself out of wanting anything that looks like it's gonna be a craving. Plus, once you get rid of the processed stuff, you can smell processed food like nothing else. It is absolutely crazy. Don't accept garbage, accept the best of the best. And if you're going out to eat, really treat yourself. Don't pick something you can fix at home. Like, why would you go for a hamburger? It's just gonna be a grease burger. You can get that anywhere, right? Go for something unique and amazing and something that challenges your taste buds. And also, when you're cooking at home, I encourage you to venture out of your little comfort zone, venture outside of the ketchup and the mustard and the salt and the pepper. Try really unique herbs and spices and learn how to put those together in combinations that will make your mouth sing. You're not always going to succeed. There's going to be some stuff you're not going to like, but you are going to find some foods that you absolutely love and that will be in regular rotation for your diet and your family's diet, and that's going to help you lose weight too. The Japanese have this wonderful idea, and I'm probably not even going to translate it right, but they have this idea of just enough. So you want to eat until it's enough and no more. So this basically boils down to, you know, that moment when you're eating and you put your fork down and you think you're done, and then everybody else around you is still eating, and you look at your plate and you're like, this still looks good, but it tastes so good, and you pick your fork back up and you start eating. That's overeating, and that makes you overfull. The moment you set down your fork, leave your fork down, put the rest away for leftovers. This will ensure that you don't overeat. Also, really important, if you haven't done this, to get in touch with your hunger again. Allow yourself to feel a little bit of hunger before you eat, because a lot of us are eating on a schedule, and it doesn't matter if we're hungry or we're not. We will be conditioned to go to the kitchen or to go to our lunchbox or to go to the break room at a specific time just because that's what we do every day. Look, if you're not hungry, don't eat. You will not believe the number of calories that little trick will save you during the day. It takes your body about 20 minutes to register that you're full, which is probably why we can overeat so easily. I mean, face it, our bodies love to overeat. It doesn't feel good, but that's why when you're eating, you're like, oh, I'm eating, and all of a sudden you're like, oh God, I'm gonna die. And you can hardly move. So you need to know that if you eat slower, which is really essential when you have ACDF surgery and swallowing problems, but if you can eat slower, that will allow your body more time to process that you're full. So not only will you be taking in fewer calories, but you also will not be stuffing yourself after you have achieved a state of satiation. In order to lose 1 pound of body weight, you have to burn 3,500 excess calories, okay? That's a lot of calories. You can do that in 2 ways. You can do it based diet only, which is tough, or you can do it with diet and exercise. So you limit the number of calories you have a little bit, you exercise a little bit, and guess what? Your weight's gonna come down. The final thing I wanted to say is that after ACDF surgery and the balloon scoping I developed some pretty bad reflux. When they put me on a proton pump inhibitor, that alone calmed my hunger down. It was pretty incredible. And I think the reason for that is I didn't have so much irritation in my esophagus. Even though some of it wasn't super painful reflux, it was still happening all the time. So that, I think, was triggering me to want to eat to soothe whatever was happening in my esophagus, and then it was contributing to this loop of overeating. So that's how I am losing weight after my ACDF surgery without dieting. I am eating high fiber, whole foods. I'm spreading out my protein throughout the day. I'm making sure I eat frequently but low calorie, nutrient dense foods. I'm eating a lot of smoothies with greens and lots of vegetables, lots of beans and legumes and nuts and seeds. I'm cooking and blending my vegetables so that I can actually get them down. I've cut way back on sugar and processed foods. I'm eating slowly. I'm listening to my body. I have rules around when I can enjoy treats so that it's just not an open season on all of the treats. And I'm also not buying as many treats, so I don't have them in the house. I make all of my own food, and I am seeking treatment for acid reflux. If this helped you, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and subscribe to Mama Fix It ACDF Recovery. It really does help this channel grow. For recipes, ACDF recovery tools, and updates about my weight loss book that I am retooling now that I have gone through menopause, please head over to my website, www.amygiaquinto.com, and click the subscribe button there. You can subscribe to my newsletter. I will not pester you. I will let you know when my book is coming out so you can get a pre-order if you're interested. And finally, I would love to hear from you. What are you eating? Please drop me a comment in the comment section below. I would especially love to hear from you if you're from another country or if you'd like to leave some recipes below. Also, let me know what your experience has been with swallowing issues after ACDF surgery and how you've managed that with your diet. Remember, everything you put into your body is a choice, so choose well. I'm Amy Giaquinto, I am Mama Fix It, and this is my ACDF recovery journey. See you in the next video. Bye!